Hello everybody, this is Uncle Mike with mission 21 of my Kerbal Kareer on Kerbal Space Program on the Xbox One Enhanced Edition. And first, a disclaimer, and the disclaimer is this will be my last Kerbal Kareer for a few weeks because in the real world, I am having to travel, so there's going to be a delay here. But here in mission 21, what we are going to do is we are going to update the Comrade vehicle for a transfer to DUNA with our Comrade lander. So let's go ahead and get right into it here. And let's go into the VAB and let's load up our Comrade Mk7, I think it is. And we are going to update it because we bought in mission 20. We wanted to get science to upgrade or to buy into the heavy rocketry. So we did that. So let's go ahead and open up here. And down here is the Mk7-2. Let's go ahead and open that up. So here was the Mk7-2. And if we look at this, it's got a lander here with a lot of fuel, solar panels. So this is what we want to send to DUNA, but we are going to have to upgrade this somewhat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove everything from here. So there is the lander. Let's go ahead and rename this craft here. So this is going to be our Mark III. Whoa, that is not what we wanted to do. It's going to be our Mark III, and we're going to name it then DUNA, just so we know that this is the upgrade here. So might really be a Mark 8, but we'll call it the Mk7-3 DUNA. And the reason why it probably is a different version because the vehicle is going to be upgraded. It's going to look the same, but it's definitely going to be upgraded. So I'm going to raise this up because we're going to make a much larger vehicle to have the Delta V to get us to DUNA. So one of the things that we definitely need to do for entry into the DUNA atmosphere is we're going to need to have some drogue chutes to help slow us down. So I'm thinking about putting 2 drogue chutes on here just to upgrade this vehicle. They can sit. That made it 4 because I have that fuel tank on symmetry to 4. So doesn't really necessarily matter where these are at. I'm thinking about putting them right there. So now we've got those. Let's go ahead and make sure that we want the engines to go, this engine to go first and then the parachutes. So yes, that's what we want. We've got our descent engine, we've got landing lights and lights, everything looks good, solar panels, bunch of science, so we're good there. So that's one thing. And then we're also going to want to put in here a heat shield because when we enter, we might have to do some aero braking so we can enter the atmosphere fast and not have to burn up so much fuel that we've got here. So that's another thing that we are going to do. And so now what I'll do is I'll put an extra coupling here. So now we've got a way to stage, and then we've got the heat shield, and we need to get the heat shield off of here. So we need to, where is that? That's the top one. So I'm thinking what we need to do is we need to add a stage. We need to move this here. I would imagine we're going to need to pop the chutes before we get rid of the heat shield, but we can always do that. So this right here is the one that will get rid of the heat shield. This is for staging. So that looks good there. So let's go ahead and just save it. So we've upgraded now the probe itself. Got landing legs, got descent engine, we've got a heat shield. So everything looks good there. So now what we need to do is we need to now start to build the actual launch vehicle that we want to take. And I've done some, as you've seen on a previous training mission that I have done, is that I need to actually design this outside of Kerbal, because on the Xbox One Enhanced Edition, we don't have the mods to tell us things. So basically, the top of the vehicle is pretty much the same as what it has been. We're going to take this and we're going to go ahead and make it the gray and orange. So we basically have that right there, and then we'll have, this will really be our transfer to go into DUNA injection. No, not injection, transfer. So to transfer from Kerbal to DUNA, and we're going to do that launch and that maneuver here. I think DUNA is in a pretty good spot. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. So, all right, so now what we're going to do is, here's where the upgrade really starts to take place. Is there a fuel tank? It's this one, right? That's a fuel tank. So we just definitely need to obviously stage this. So we need to add a coupling here. There we go. That's looking good. And now what we need to do is we need to put a fairing. And of course we did buy the larger shell. So now we can just, it's going to look like a pretty basic. I guess I got to put just a little tiny, something like that. Let's go ahead and get this right there. Now we can just extend this and close it off. There we go. So there is now our payload fairing. We are going to change that also, because this is a Comrade vehicle here named after Admiral Andre. So, all right, so there is now our probe is going to DUNA, our transfer. So everything is looking good. Now what we need to do is we actually need to think about, and this is what I've been thinking about here, is I am now going to put on in the fuel tank here one of these large, right there, RCS, because I think we might need to do some maneuvers with this. And so I want to make sure that we've got some RCS to be able to maneuver this, because I'm not going to add in any other large reaction wheels or anything like that. All right, so then the next thing is we need our big fuel tanks. Need to change that one to orange. Go. All right, so there is now, so we've got our RCS fuel. And then what we did is we bought into the heavier rocketry. And the reason being is because I wanted to make sure I had the engines to do this. So what we're going to do is now is down here in engines, we've got the big skipper is what I want to put on there. I really don't think I need the mainsail. I think the skipper will do. It's gimbaled, so it's got the control here for launch. And now what we want to do is, for this, is I want to make sure that I've got some level of RCS. So what we need to do is command and control, go to 4X. And I want to have then some RCS on this stage in case I need to maneuver this while doing a coast phase. So now we've got the RCS on there. So we got the main engine, fairing can go off, staging. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think there's already cross feed on, right? I think fuel comes across this. Yeah, I think we're okay there. I think so, but we'll see. All right, so there is now the core stage. Just go ahead and save it, just so we make sure we save off. And now what we want to do is we want to put on our booster. So we'll come here to coupling. And now what I want to do is I want to build in. So what I'm going to do is we're going to come right about here. We're going to have 4, just like we've done with the Comrade vehicle. And now what we've done is I want to put on, got a new fuel tank, which is right here. I'm going to put those like so, and it looks like I need to bring that down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this, come in here. that does not move it. So we're going to need to remove the fuel tanks. Just put those out here. I want these to be lower. There we go. Is that how I want to do this? No, I'm actually going to do this differently. What we're going to do is we're going to raise this up because I want this to really push away the boosters. And so you'll see here in just a moment, so I can get my thumbs to slow down. Just really am, there we go, struggling there. There we go. Is what I really want is this tank right here. That's what I want. So right there. Let's go ahead and make those the gray and orange. Orange is the color. Uncle Mike. Now what we'll do is we'll put these on. Also make those. You can see what we're doing. We're making a larger version of our Mark. All right, so now the engines that we wanted to get on here were the Bobcats now. And that's why we did mission 20, at least the focus of mission 20 was to get enough science to unlock these. So, all right, now we're going to put those on. And now what we're going to do though is we are going to go ahead and make sure that those are gimbal locked. And this one then is gimbal free. Just make sure. Let's lock this one. Now let's just confirm that that one is free. Okay, so there we go. So I think that this design of vehicle here now is going to give us the, let's go ahead and save this, is going to give us the Delta V to get to DUNA. So let's just check staging though. We've got all engines going, all engines running. No, we do not. There we go. We got that. This is, well, this has got some type of little boosters, I think, to pop them off. So we're going to put those with the staging. So those go. So let's just look here. Solid fuel. Yeah, that's what that is. So let's do it. Small thrust just to help push them away. There we go. Let's go ahead and save the craft. So it's just looking at, so we got all engines running. Booster phase. Could do some crossfeed too. We could try that. Okay, there's that. Staging. Heat shield. Engine. Okay, I believe this is it. Now what we can do is we can do some bracing and some crossfeeding here. Let's go ahead and do some structural bracing. Right, not sure what happened there. It must be too much of an angle, so let's put it there. Go. Now over here also. There is now some structural bracing. And then we can actually do some crossfeed. So what we can do, do I really want to do crossfeed? No, I'm not going to do crossfeed. Meaning I'm not going to have fuel being pulled from these boosters into here. This is, but we're going to go with that. So we're going to save this. And now we're going to put it on the launch pad. Oh no, it's too heavy. Ooh. All right, let's save this. We might just have to then upgrade our launch facility. Do I have enough dollars to do this? I really want to send this to DUNA. Let's go ahead and bring up the manage building. 282. So yeah, let's up. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Manage. So I'm going to upgrade. So oof. So we've got now fully operational, so unlimited. There we go. We had to do it. Didn't realize that, so let's go back into the VAB. Let's save this one more time. So that was the build part of mission 21 here to do our launch to DUNA. So here is our vehicle. I think staging is correct. And so what we're doing in mission 21 here is we're going to do the launch, and we're going to do the transfer, the maneuver and the transfer, and get this on its way, because it's going to take some time so we can do other things in the future missions while this is transferring to DUNA. We're not going to fast travel. We're going to get this thing on its way to DUNA. So let's go ahead and put this on the launch pad. What is not available? The FLC 1000 fuel tank. Not available. Gotta go find that too. So I am not ready to go here. The FLC 1000. To go find out what part that is here in research and development. What part is that we did not get here? That it right there? No, that's the adapter. What are we missing here? Where is this? Where is this fuel tank that I have somehow missed? Maybe in here? Yes, there it is right there. All right, there we go. We've now upgraded and bought into that. So a few things I missed there in my design. I knew I unlocked them, I just hadn't bought them because I do have my difficulty here set pretty high. So I have to buy all the components in also. So let's save it. All right, now we are ready to take it to the launch pad. I do have it resting on its engine, so that's okay. Rather than buying into the, hopefully it doesn't fall over. I haven't really looked at that since I don't have the support trusses. But we are going to do a quick launch here and get it up into space here real quick. So let's go ahead, and staging is go, throttle is set and go, SAS is go, flight we are go, T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and engine start. Woo, boy, that is not much of a thrust to weight ratio there, but it got us off the pad, so we are good to go. A little bit of a roll going in here. I'm not really sure why it started off with a roll component, but once we go ahead and accelerate up to 100 meters per second, we will go ahead and do a roll and start the pitch program. So everything is looking good here. We are 5x5. All right, we're coming up on 100 meters per second. Taking a little bit of a roll program here, getting it lined up. All right, starting our pitch program 090. Remember, I do not have everything gimbaled, just that center skipper engine. Looks like I probably could have used the mainsail engine also. Looking good, boosters looking good. Because we are running a probe here, I'm not going to throttle back. I'm going to just continue to power up into orbit. I'm up on 300 meters per second, 8.5 kilometers in altitude. Flight is looking good. See if I really needed that RCS fuel when we get up here. I think that was still a thing to do, is to put the RCSs on there. Got a little bit of a roll here in our design. Passing 18 kilometers in altitude. I'm not going to be throttling back here. We are go for orbit, so looking good. You can see I've got this roll component here. I'm not really sure why I do, but that'll probably get taken out as soon as we go into booster separation, which is coming up here real soon. And we have booster separation. Looking really good there in booster separation. All right, now we can continue a roll program here. Just get those reaction wheels. Not using RCS, just using the reaction wheels in a slow. All right, I'm going to start now a real aggressive pitch program. I really didn't do much of a pitch program on that launch at all. which is okay. We can have a coast phase. We do have the RCS, so I will be able to maneuver this once I'm in space. Alright, we're coming up on space. Alright, very good, looking good. We go to map mode and see what we've got creating here. See, we've got a very steep. I'm going to start a pitch program over to the horizontal. If we get it where we're pretty high, that's not too terribly bad. I just don't want to burn too much fuel just getting in orbit. So there we go. Alright, got plenty of fuel. Let's go ahead and get rid of the fairing here. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Get rid of the fairing. There we go. Fairing is out. Let's now go ahead and extend the solar panel so we don't have to worry about battery power. Solar panels are coming out. Alright, still extending here our orbit. I really was not aggressive on that pitch program on launch. That is going to hurt me here. Again, we have the RCS thrusters and the RCS fuel just so we can maneuver this behemoth. But I don't think this might not even get us to orbit. So we will see what happens here as we thrust this. But I will probably accelerate the time here, and I will see you once this stage runs out of fuel. Alright, we are back here. And I've decided to go ahead and do a coast phase because apoapsis here, as you can see, is at 200 and almost 50 kilometers. So we're going to do a coast phase. We're going to come up here and we're going to do then a burn, set up maneuver to circularize. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we're trying to accomplish here. So we are going to go from here out to DUNA. And DUNA is way far ahead here of us. So it's not that good of a position. I thought it was in a much better position than what it was. So this is going to take a little more time to be able to do this. DUNA should probably be somewhere over here. So we're going to have to do probably a 2 maneuver, and because we're going to have to catch up to DUNA a little bit. So it's going to take a little longer to do. It's not optimal. DUNA is in front of us, but it's not in a very good position at all. So all right, so while we're doing this, let's go ahead and see. We might not even need to go to orbit. Let's just go ahead and set that as a target, because DUNA is out there. So it probably is going to behoove us, yeah, we really need to be, best thing to do is be moving in the direction of the orbit of Kerbal. So we are on the wrong side for this. So we will need to wait here and go ahead and do a burn to get into orbit. So let's go ahead and let's add a maneuver. Go ahead and just circularize, use the remaining fuel we have in that core stage. Doesn't have to be anything perfect. Here we go. All right, let's turn RCS thrusters on, because now with the RCS thrusters, we can actually go ahead and maneuver this. That was the whole point of putting the RCS thrusters, in case I had to maneuver this behemoth into position. And that is definitely what we're going to need to do. Probably got enough to circularize and all that, maybe even get us on our way. So again, DUNA is not in an optimal position. It's actually farther ahead, but that's better than being behind us. All right, so there we are on now. So we've got 4 minutes here. We will go ahead once it gets stabilized and turn off RCS now. Let the reaction wheels take over. Go ahead and warp here. It's not a very big burn to circularize, so we can probably just go ahead and warp to the next maneuver. We're set up on position here. Again, this is not a critical here. We just need to get an orbit so we can get then going prograde with Kerbin's orbit around Kerbal, the sun, so we can then transfer out to DUNA, and we will see. We can at least get to DUNA so we get some science, that would be, but the real mission here is to get onto the surface eventually. All right, we are coming up here on burn. I'm going to do probably about half throttle here of this burn, so I'm going to go ahead and just... There we go. Again, this is not a critical burn. This is just to get us into a prograde equatorial orbit. That way we can do the transfer out to DUNA here. Still got fuel here in the stage, so that's good. We can go ahead and there we go. All right, so now what the whole mission here is we've got DUNA out here. So what I want to do is I just want to confirm. I want to use as much of Kerbal's orbital velocity around Kerbal, the sun, to get us out here. So somewhere around right here, I want to add a maneuver. We are going to just extend this out here. Oh, I switched. I got to delete that. I pressed the wrong button, so I started adding onto the normal. There we go. What we want to do here is just extend this out. We can always change the position. Oh, I did it again, so I got to fix that. There we go. All right, so there you can see that here is, if we just did a regular transfer, here we are way back here, and then there's DUNA. So you can see that we're way behind in just a single transfer. So we're going to have to do a multiple. So what we're going to do here is we're going to not go as far out. So it's going to be a 2 maneuver here because DUNA is so far in front of us. So we've got that maneuver. And then somewhere out here, let's add a maneuver. And see how, see now we're getting closer. Maybe have we passed DUNA then? So we're getting closer then. So we don't want to go as far out. So we're going ahead and we're going to then delete that maneuver. We're going to then edit this maneuver. We want to be a little faster for a little longer, so I'm going to make the first orbit lower and therefore faster so we can catch up to DUNA. So let's go ahead now and add another maneuver. And I'm not really sure because this is one of the times we've done this. That's a pretty good approach there. It's getting better. We've actually now gone past it. What I want to do is I want to see if I bring this one, there we go, bring that one up, there we go, 683, 620, 6, there we go, there we go. Let's get it to roughly, we had an approach there we go. So now if I focus on DUNA, the maneuvers that we've got set up give us this right here. Now we can change some things because it's just a long trip. So we can do some other to fix at our second maneuver to fix that so we can get on to equatorial at DUNA. So Just going to take 2 maneuvers here to be able to do this, but that's okay. No problems there. So we're probably going to have to stage here. So, but we'll see the whole point. So let's go ahead and get our vehicle here rotating to target, and then we will go ahead and time warp to our maneuver. It might be that we've already got our first maneuver somewhat on the normal instead of equatorial. So that's what it looks like. So we need to fix that maneuver. So we'll fix that. Because then when we get to that second maneuver, we can actually then do a mid-course adjustment for the approach to DUNA. All right, we're just going to transfer this around here. So far, mission success. Everything is working correctly. I am glad that I decided to put that RCS fuel and the RCS thruster, so that way we can really maneuver this long moment arm vehicle that we've got here. So no, it looks like the target, it looks like we're right on track here, so I'm not going to adjust that at all. The target looks good. Looks like we're pretty much right on 090 that we want. Rotate it to the target so that way we can then warp. Not going to be a very big burn here, but we'll see if we actually have the fuel left in this core stage to get us the transfer. That was the idea, but my launch was not optimal by any means, nor is DUNA in the position that I thought it was when I initially started to design this. So, all right, gonna go ahead and let this stabilize. All right, oh nope, turn on SAS, turn off RCS. All right, so let's go ahead now and not warp that far. All right. So now the problem is in this, I do not know how to change my view. There we go. Figured it out. Now we can zoom in here. All right, so there is our maneuver out of here. Now we should be able to warp to the next maneuver. Yes, here we go. We are already set up on the target. A 46-second burn here. Let's make sure everything's looking good on battery power. Yes, it is. Really can't see it, so let's go ahead and turn on the lights that we've got. There we go. So now we've at least got some lights coming on. That'll use some of our battery power, but I think we've got plenty of battery here. So, all right, we are going to start burning at T-20 because we burn fuel as we go. And the whole idea here is to expend the rest of the fuel here that's in this core stage that we've got. Here we go, and burning. If we still have fuel left over this burn, that would be optimal. Do not have to stage in the middle of it. It's going to be real close. But we might even have fuel left over to carry this with us all the way out. Real close. Be real good though. That's the whole design of this. Nope. Did not get us all the way, so staging. Nice stage. Activate the engine. Finish the burn. There we go. And off to DUNA we go. There we go. All right, and we are now off to DUNA. Everything is looking good here to get to DUNA. Let's see what's happened here. So go ahead and zoom out. We can see now what's happening. We are now off on our way. We still have a good intercept here with DUNA even with that. So that was an excellent burn. So now what we've got here is we got this burn out here, which you can see that we are now 300 days away. So because DUNA was not in the optimal position, it is really added a long time, almost what, a year here to this mission. So that was the purpose here of mission 21, was just to go ahead and get this out to DUNA here. And now you can see that we've got an incline. We probably we're going to reset this maneuver right here onto the node. And the reason being, you can see that we've got a little bit of a incline here that we set up just over this long distance. So we can fix that to 0 so we can approach DUNA here in a year when we are then, or actually DUNA a lot longer than that, because if we want to come out here, we've got 2 years to get to DUNA. So we are going to be doing a whole lot of other things here, but this is our first mission out, and we're just going to let it go while we do other things in the Kerbal Minmus here of my Kerbal Kareer. So hopefully here our ship has a nice flight. Solar panels are out. I am going to go ahead and turn off the lights just to conserve power. So there we go. We are heading out to DUNA. And again, if we focus on DUNA here, you can see our approach is at about a 45-degree incline. So we'll eventually fix that. But here we are. That was the mission DUNA here. That is our mission, and that was the focus of mission 21 here, was to go ahead and send a vehicle on its way to DUNA while we are continue to focus on the career within the Kerbal Minmus system. We still have a lot of science to gather, a lot of things to do, a lot of contracts to do, especially since we had to burn the money to upgrade the launch facility to maximize the operational capabilities of the launch facility. All right, so there we go. DUNA, the Comrade Mk7-3 DUNA vehicle is on its way to DUNA. In a year, we have a mid-course correction, and then another year, we will then approach DUNA. So there we go. We could do that with some other designs and maybe go on some of the inner planets, but I definitely wanted to go out to DUNA. So there we go. Let's go ahead and go to the Space Center. So this has been mission 21, our build and launch to DUNA, and that vehicle now is on its way. So you know the plan. Thumbs up because you are amazing. Subscribe and chime that bell to get notified. I am Uncle Mike.